Hey, this is Misery Loves Sherman, a offshoot, I guess, of Misery Loves Company. We are taking a break from our regularly scheduled Friday reading to offer you a special event. So, Misery Tourism, Misery Loves Company regular, Josh Sherman just had his chapbook published on Ghost City Press. Josh, hey Josh, just quickly tell us a little bit about your chapbook.
Oh, it's a collection of stuff that regulars have already heard because I have this tendency to just sit on things forever. So, anyways, it's all old and boring material for regulars. But yeah, it's a chapbook of like poems and stories written between 2010 and 2017, thereabouts. Designed cover art by my girlfriend Sheila Hart. Pretty degenerate stuff, degenerate behavior, just overall degenerate vibes that you've come to expect or that you will soon be introduced to if you haven't already during the introduction.
And Josh, the chapbook has a tremendous title. It's, I think the title might be longer than some of the poems in the collection. What's the title of the chapbook, Josh?
If someone wanted to make a snuff film of me, all they need is footage of my day-to-day existence. And actually, just a note on the title, it is true to my form in that they had super specific, it's a micro chapbook, they call it, which just sounds, Derek and I talk about it like baby's first book. It's like, just call it. And so they had like 10 pages of content limited to. So what I did is I made the short stories in there smaller font just to, and I the title is actually a separate poem that is credited in the back that was put out on Be About It Press. So the title itself, it was initially called Snuff Poems and Stories. Changed it that just to fit, just to maximize, they're giving me that much real estate. And it's funny because obviously as they formatted it, they must have realized what happened because it was like 20 some odd, or it was like 19 or 20 pages long, for sure the longest thing they've ever done, but they didn't say anything. So, yeah.
That that is the that I don't know, that's iconic, Josh. That's a great story. I love how even like the simple like material day-to-day realities of publishing your chapbook requires subterfuge and deceit. That's a beautiful thing, Josh. So Rudy, I think you have the link to Josh's chapbook. If you want to just drop it in the chat in case somebody would like to read it, I think they can just download it for free, right? So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll link it in the chat.
great. And you can throw a link up on the Twitter thread
Yep,
too.
I'll tweet it out too.
Awesome. Thank you, man. So with that in mind, since this is Josh's special day, we've allowed Josh to hijack Misery Loves Company this week. He's picked a selection of some of his favorite authors and also friends who peer pressured him into letting him read. And yeah, I am basically turning the night over to him. I'm going to continue to host. I'm going to continue to respond to readings after they're done, but I refuse to be held responsible for anything that happens tonight. It's all on Josh. That said, before the first reader, Josh, I think you wanted to do um a little bit of a commercial, if I
Yeah.
understand.
It was a word from our sponsors. So I wanted to just say that my micro chapbook release is brought to you by Alex Kazemi's debut novel, New Millennium Boys. It hit shelves on September 12th via Permuted Press. It's a great novel. I haven't read it yet, but I have entered into an agreement with a twink who DM'd me on Twitter to promote this book. I am excited to read it, and I did not scam anyone into giving me this advanced reader's copy. Now that I've met my contractual agreements, though, on behalf of Misery Tourism's Diversity and Inclusion Department, which I head, I'd like to highlight that we've gone to great lengths to ensure that a broad spectrum of views and backgrounds are represented on the reading list that I've thoughtfully curated for you tonight. I am probably autistic, and Rudy is definitely Black. Also,
Not true.
also, the people who attend these readings tend to display various mental health disorders. And with that, back to my esteemed host, William, who I presume will introduce the first reader, who is still crouching in the corner of my loft.
Josh, I'm not gonna live through the night. I'm not gonna make it. You're going to get. Okay, that was awesome. That was awesome, Josh. You have no idea. You're a legend, man. Okay, up first tonight is Ryan, who is, as Josh said, crouching, squatting in your
Wait,
loft.
don't get up till I say.
And it was a fellow Toronto resident, correct? And it was, I'm sure this is an act of incredible charity on his part to just give in to Josh's whims. Okay.
And we met actually through this, which is actually a beautiful thing. And I mean that, like, you know what I mean? Like regardless of the pandemic or not, actually, Ryan and I now hang out every Sunday, whether he likes it or not. We go to the BMV on Bloor. But anyways, okay. I will vacate throne.
Ryan!
And there's your link.
Okay, cool.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm live from Josh's house. One sec. So yeah, I'm just gonna read, I've read this before, but I'm just gonna read a story that was published in the first issue of a zine called Technophilia, and the story is called Hive Ghosts. Okay. One sec. The text is really small. Okay. She hears the sun whisper to her that she is loved. She lives in Exoterra, and she has never known it. Exoterra is the carapace of the thing that came from space. It crashed into where they lived and destroyed them. Their memories scattered into the air somehow. They pulled themselves from memories to find themselves. They made themselves to stay in her hollow. Then they had to build inside her. They built from caked blood until they remembered how to glass it to clay. Now they have a convex sky. Renee's emerged into starlit darkness from her hut. Their beams cut through incisions left by the angels. Her grandfather's ghost went out to forage for heat, and since then her heart's hourglass has run out. The grains have gathered to clumps in her stomach. Her arm is segmented thrice by the beams. She stares around her. The spider pen is to her left. It's morning's tide, and Rory is out kicking them awake, swearing at them in his cloven voice. Her heart breaks for how he batters them, but it's no never mind now that she needs him. She walks to him, her feet squelching into the cake clay. Have you seen my grandfather? She calls over the spider scritchings. Rory looks at her. A spider paws at his knees, hooking its claw into his kneecap for attention. Your grandfather has lost his last light, he says. He crossed the wall outside. Look, I'm real sorry. I always liked him. He was a clear voice. She claws at her throat to stop the panic. She feels her fingernails slit her skin and knits over in seconds, time a weave that binds and gives. He can only leave if he forgets he can't. I'll follow him, she says. I swear I'll follow. She hears a snort, but it's far away, veiled and matterless. She's a teenager and prone to acting up. Young shades never take unravelings well. They'll cry and scream, but memories want to remember, and shades only cry until the next drawing. But she doesn't care about who she's drawn to, and she didn't say it for Rory. The last time they spoke, her grandfather laughed at terrible things, the way he always did. He was the same. It's been building in her for long hourglass turns, and she knows it now. Not the way you know things for sure, but the way you want them for pretty sure, and you want them to be. She wants to leave, but first she has to say goodbye. She has to circle the outer periphery to find Lucius. He's sifting the cake that everyone's forgotten in vision. Once people have forgotten the worthless, you can find worth again. Lucius' idea of himself is fattened. He is losing his war. She hates herself that she has to abandon him, but it has to be this way. She knows now she would chase those she loves even most, even if it takes her from others. Lucius, she knows, will never leave. He is held here, for who would feed the spiders the things the villagers think they should eat if they're loved? And she knows she should say that she's leaving and just go. Wait, should she love him so he fares her well? Caught between, she can only speak in uselessness. What do you want to feed the spiders? Practicality. Spider lick. Tick, tick, tick. He takes her in. As always, he lingers on her lower form. I know time, as always, he says. You flatter yourself. If you even to leave, if you want to leave, you can vanish. She shrugs, standoffish. I thought it would hurt. It does, he says, looks at her with dinner plate eyes. The moment you leave, I'll cry for you. She asked for his guilt. She lets it settle in between her spaces. She shifts and the cake squishes between her toes, silting them dark. Then she hears Rory's cry of pain and fear, all the way from the center cluster of clay and bones. Lucius's eyes are bleeding her dry. Why should I tell you, he says, every time I foresee. He clenches his fists. The thought of his skin peels. She sees his inner skin, faded with disbelief. She hears, even from here, the murmur, sorry, the text is small. She hears, even from here, the murmur of spiders slavering. The carnage fills her eyes, cuts into her like knives. She wonders if they are angel blades. She wonders if the angels flew on wings of sorrow. The spiders are tearing the villagers apart, husbands, wives, and children. The wives cling to the husbands, and the children to the wives, and the children are ripped apart first. Skin blue, eyes bulging with venom. Limbs torn and serrated by fang, fallen like bones to the caked earth. It's not blood that seeps from them. It's shadow, slender, and twisting, bending like it shouldn't. It elbows it in the wrong places, jagged like shrike feathers, into the air and past tears in skin and tears of eyes. The spiders are all over them. Their bodies are falling and being ground. The spiders are sinking into them. A spider has wrested Rory and is drooling on his throat. Black lines thicken on his neck. His eyes shine a pale blue. As she tackles the spider away, her body squishing into mush, she sees them blaze against the caked earth and the skin he's losing. She lands hard on the spider. Its legs curl around her. She's dashed it against the blood. She prizes it apart. The other spiders shrink from her. She shows them her teeth and they scuttle away. They'll find Lucius, she knows. He'll feed them more poison thoughts. The limbs are strewn all over the village, leaking shadows like dye candles. Lucius won, she realizes. He was always under the surface of thoughts. It was easy for his hate to seep. This is her fault. There's nothing left for her here but his bile. She moves to Rory. His eyes spark electric fire. He's almost gone. She cradles Rory at her breast until he loses to what's inside him. He slips away, and she's left holding the bones of his thought. Ugly things. She scatters them into the caked earth. Then she makes her way to the exo wall, hoping Starlight True is better than this. It takes decades, but she finds her grandfather. He lives in a cave angled to the sun. It is mossy but warm. He eats the lichen. He tells her it is good and pure. Grandfather, she asks, what was the origin? Baby, he says. He strokes her. She feels the caress of his floofy beard. I never understood it myself, he says. They called it an interzone, I think. It seeped into everything they touched and tasted and smelled. Somehow they evolved it. It lived there. It said they dreamed our doom into being. They stand at the summit of their mount. Their thoughtful feet scrape over shards. The starlight has always been endless. Dawn. They stare at the mass of Exoterra. Renee can see clear now that she's a one-winged queen. A glassy, glimmering tear. She was torn, and then she fell. A beautiful place, Renee says, sudden and fierce, to build from thoughts. Her grandfather touzles her hair. We were born again from the hive remnants. In her we could only ever be ghosts. Now that you can see her full, you can decide. Think long and hard about how she makes you feel. I love her, Renee says, heart and fire. The blooded dawn breaks against them. In Exoterra, the stars will burn forever. I'm sorry, the text was way smaller than I expected it to be.
That is not a problem, although we could have figured it out. So I'm just trying to like exit from the thing so I can see the people. Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan. While Josh is fiddling with the laptop, I just want to say that was awesome, man. As usual, like it has all the like great features that your writing always has. Like it has a wonderful sense of atmosphere. The language is beautiful and complex, and the language and the world building are intricately like intertwined in a really wonderful way. But what I like about this one, in addition to all the wonderful traits that your writing usually has, is there's a real like emotional and thematic through line to this piece. Like this is very much a piece about grief and loss, and you really, all of your usual techniques are put into the service of this really wonderful, mournful tone. And it's just great. It's great, Ryan. It's great. And I'm glad that you shared it with us tonight. And it was a great way to open the show.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan.
We went to...
I thought it was, well, yeah, get up.
Get up?
And I'm sorry you're being treated with such callousness by Josh.
Oh, the seat's so much warmer now. Was it about grief or was it about spiders though?
It was also the spiders with the spiders were part of the examination of grief, Josh.
We have multiple chairs, but this is I mean, that was the only time in which it would make sense for him to anyways. I lent him my chair. There are 5 Eames replica chairs in this apartment. Well, actually 6 if you count the nice one on wheels. Anyways, I don't know why I don't know why I try and defend myself to you people. But William, who did I demand read next? Because I have some books here. For each one that has a book out that I have, I want to.
Derek is next.
Derek,
we shuffled the readers around a few times, but what we decided on was that Derek would read next. Oh, you've got his book.
Yeah, so Derek, I also have not read this yet, and I also did not pay for it, but I have heard a lot of these stories. I think they were first read here, and I think the book took form in some ways at Misery Tourism. And now, I mean, I'm excited to see what the final form of the stories that make up this novel of stories. But Derek is also a close friend of mine, someone who, we just Zoom every week. We're super tight. No matter what I say, he always completely agrees and stands by me. And so I'm looking forward to see what he reads.
And what more could you want in a friend than that?
Exactly. Just
someone who's completely obsequious.
Or someone as fucked as you are. He's not though, because he's like
I know Derek is. And Derek is not at all afraid to share his opinion and to disagree with you, but he always does it in a polite and courteous way, which I really appreciate.
I will say though, just to address the comments, I eventually read everything. It takes me a while. No, that's not true. Also I scammed Zach and Tao Lin out of ARCs, but that was in my past. Those were rougher days. Anyways, let's have
all right. Derek.
Oh. Man, that was incredible, man. I don't want to read. Like, I just want you to talk from now until, you know what I mean? And different people can just bring up, various stories or whatever and rile you up. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
Well, yeah, there's an argument to be made for that. Give the people what they want. But I think Sheila, if only out of sympathy, empathy, whatnot. I mean, she has to live with this, right? So, like, it's supposed to be a little bit of an event. This is like some people take, their partners out to like the county fair, like on your book cover, there's, you know what I mean? You're at this place, and
Yeah.
and Sheila, she just gets this. This is the night
Right.
out. I'm,
Right.
so think about that, and let's continue the readings.
Thanks for asking me to read, man. Josh reminds, like, my thing with Josh is, if you've seen Tombstone, this is how I feel like, when they're, and I wrote about this actually for Misery Tourism a long ass time ago, but there's that scene by the creek where Creek Johnson is actually like talking to Doc Holliday. He's like, "Why are you out here?" And Doc Holliday is, "Wyatt Earp's my friend." And then Creek's like, "Man, I got lots of friends." And Wyatt Earp's, or Doc Holliday's like, "I don't." And yeah, so that, yeah, it's that always about, that's, yeah. Josh Sherman is my friend. All right, it's compliment Josh. Okay, number 2, sell characters. Okay, so yeah, Characters is the book that I'm going to read from tonight. And everybody that's here knows about it and has seen something or whatever. So you either have a copy of it, or you don't. If you don't have one and you want one, my selling point, this isn't some great high literary art. Do you know what I mean? This hasn't, but my selling point is, right now it's in print because me and my publisher are getting along. But like, how much would you bet on that, like, long term? Do you know what I mean? So think of it, like, as an object of this time. I'm going to read something I read so long ago, but I read it outside, out front here, and it was really cold. It felt like it was going to snow, but it didn't. It's called Little Bits and Pieces. Josh, if you're going to look at it, actually on page 69, which my 7th grade son would find that fucking hilarious.
So do I.
Yeah, I know. I picked out something shorter for your benefit, but unfortunately it's not funny, which I wish it was. It's a Little Bits and Pieces. Everyone works at the restaurant, I think. Dave does. He busses tables. Christine does. She hostesses. I do. I wash dishes. Christine and I started seeing each other in March. It's November now. I had just come from another place. They asked me where they could drop me off when it was time to leave. They said, "Where do your parents live?" They said, "What about your brother?" They said, "Isn't there anyone you can think of?" They dropped me off in front of a coffee shop downtown when they tired of asking. Christine was out front. It was March then, like I said. The air was nice and cool. Christine was out front of the coffee shop downtown, enjoying the nice, cool air and wearing tennis shoes with a skirt. The skirt was very short. The tennis shoes were nice and very cool. Christine was very pretty. I asked her if I could sit down and join her. I said, "I just came from the nut house. Everyone says I'm cured. It's a miracle. Let's celebrate. I'll buy you a drink. Do you like hot chocolate?" I bet this place has good hot chocolate. God, I was feeling chatty. God, what an embarrassment I was. Christine didn't mind. She liked me right off. "What music do you like?" I said, "This is the music I like." "What movies do you like?" I said, "These are the movies I like." "What shows do you like?" I said, "I don't watch shows. I don't got that kind of time." "Who does?" "Who knows?" I made her laugh 3 times. A few weeks later, it was April and warmer, and I was walking up the stairs to her apartment. "Don't worry about my roommate. She might be home." "I won't. It's kind of a mess." "I don't mind. It's actually really fucking messy." "I seriously don't care. I sleep in a bathtub. I have severe anxiety disorder. Nothing you show me will make me not love you." But it was very messy. She was right about that. "Are you going to come?" she asked. She was tired of doing all the work, especially since she had finished, I could tell. "No, probably not," I said. "Do you ever come?" she asked. "Only when I do it myself," I said. "I don't like it when you do it yourself," she said. "I know," I said. "I want to do it for you," she said. "I understand," I said. "I'm sorry," we said. Dave dropped off trays and trays and trays and trays of dishes constantly. I washed them. Dave wanted me to turn off what I was listening to in the dish pit and put on something cool. Dave said he could get me whatever I needed. "I just need you to drop off the dishes that need washing, Dave, and take back the clean ones to the front of the house. They're low on pint glasses. There's a situation with the pint glasses developing up front. It can't make its way back here. It just can't." Then it was August. Christine started mixing Coke and water and tapping it straight into her veins. I punched a college kid. Dave bought a gun. Everyone was floating in their own free world. Christine had her tennis shoes dangling over my legs. We were lying together on the couch. "I stopped using," she said. "I'm so happy," I said. True Dreams of Wichita by the band Soul Coughing was playing loudly in another room. It stopped and then it started again. Now it was stuck in my head. My head kept thinking, pull your eyes towards heaven. Outside Topeka in the phone lines, her good teeth smile was winding down. I started to feel the bad stuff coming on. I was sitting on a couch before last year when they came and grabbed my arm. One of them did. One of them grabbed my arm. The other was whispered gently, trying to make me feel calm. I don't feel calm. I feel like a million stars are inside my chest, always exploding. My body is all set to explode too. I've been seeing Dave, she said. What does that mean? I asked. It means what you think it means, she said. I didn't say anything. I was crying. Dave sold her coke, which she mixed with water and tapped straight into her veins. And he owned a gun and put blackout curtains over every window in his tiny, smelly, suicidal apartment. And there were pictures of naked women hanging up on the walls with scotch tape like he was proud to be an asshole. He listens to the worst music, I said. She laughed, said, you're listening to soul coughing. I don't think you can talk. I didn't put it on, I said. You aren't turning it off, she said. Screenwriter's Blues by Soul Coughing was playing loudly in another room. It stopped and then it started again. Now it was stuck in my head. My head kept thinking, gone savage for teenagers with automatic weapons and boundless love. I threw up all over her short skirt. It's November now anyway. Dave is nodded off in the front seat of his car. His car is parked on the shoulder of the highway. The last full moon before the winter solstice is the morning moon. Dave has been missing for 4 full days. Dave has promises and friendships and love like everyone else, and all that feels broken now. The knock on the driver's side window wakes Dave up. Dave is startled. The officer asks Dave to step outside the vehicle. Life is a collection of stories. The ones we end up telling always surprise us. Officer down. Dave runs to the woods with his shotgun in hand. He has been trying for 4 days to kill himself with heroin, but the heroin sucks in this town. Everything is bright under the morning moon. The grass glistens from a recent rain. Dave is headed toward the creek. Dave stops and remembers everything, then blows his head off. Little bits and pieces of himself shower down, many of them embers. The sound travels. Little bits and pieces smolder on wet grass. Smells like autumn. Animals desperate to feed. It's still. Everyone, everywhere, whoever will tell you the same. It's still. They say you could walk up to that path toward the creek decades later and still be picking up bits and pieces. I know what that's like.
Derek, holy shit. So Derek, I do believe that you read this at Misery Tourism once before, years and years ago, but I forgot how much I loved this piece. This is actually, I think, one of my all-time favorite pieces of yours, especially that final half or final third, everything from the description of Dave's apartment, which I think is what it's so concise, but it is so perfect. And I think one of the greatest descriptions you've ever written, like the blackout curtains, the nude women on the wall with scotch tape, and that phrase, the I put it in the chat, but I have to read it. Just like he was proud to be an asshole. Like that line is so good. It's so fucking good, Derek. And I had forgotten like that, like I had forgotten about this style that you had, right? Because you've been on the wartime author kick for so long. So coming back with this piece, man, it's like that shotgun blast in the story. It's like, holy shit. Like
it's really weird to read anything. This is like, I just don't, yeah. But I asked Josh, I said, do you want me to read something? I've got something new from wartime. The war's still going, guys, guys and gals. But I asked Josh and Josh said, well, I don't like wartime author yet. And I know I like some pieces of characters. So if you could just stick to that.
How flattering, how flattering. I don't like your work, but I liked some of your old work. So why don't you read one of the pieces of your old work that
I'm so proud and happy to be here. Can't wait to hear from everybody else. Thank you again, Josh. This is awesome. I hope I did you all right, man.
You did. I like that one.
Okay. A little emo, right? Like it was a little too like whiny.
We said there was something you did with the not the pronouns, but it was, and it's I don't know. You're not going to like the Scott McClanahan comparison or whatever, but anyways, yeah.
Well, you can't stop there, Josh. You can't be like, well, you wouldn't like this. So
I'm feuding with Gigi, who has like was using like a picture of my mom as his photo they screen grabbed when she was talking with her mouth open and stuff. And I just think he needs to fuck off and change it, or can we please boot him from the reading?
Stop feuding with Gigi. Stop feuding with Gigi.
No, but it's like, it's seriously, William, like
Gosh,
this
he's
is
going to try so hard tonight. You know, it would be his apex moment if he could get you to just lose it tonight. Don't
no,
let it.
but I don't, he doesn't have to. He can just get me to insist that he's like removed from the whole thing, and it's fine. I think everybody will be better for it. But anyways, continuing on, is Troy next?
Josh, indeed, Troy is next. Anyway, Derek, thank you so much for reading that. And someday I will finish reading characters. I fucking promise, man. Yeah, Troy. Troy
Dude.
Weaver is up next.
So I think he's reading some new stuff, but Wichita Stories for me, I don't even think it would be what Troy likes best of his stuff. I like Marigold a lot, and it's probably a more beautiful book, but these are just really direct, simple, direct. I just like, you can, I don't know. I read this obviously, and I don't read in a day, even if it's super short. I don't read a Brodigan poetry collection in a day, or in 6 hours, or in 2 hours.
No, Josh, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. The length of a book has no correlation with how fast you read it if you're reading it right. It took me a shockingly long. I just read Nathaniel Duggan's poetry book for a bit not that long ago, and he's going to be reading later, so I won't say too much. But it took me so, it's a short fucking book, but it took me so much longer than I expected to read it. Because after every poem, I was like, fuck. And I had to put it down and like digest the poem and then pick it back up and then read another poem and then digest it. It's like density is a thing. And if you fly through a work fast, just because there aren't that many words on the page, even though it's dense with like meaning and somewhat sophisticated and complicated in the way that it's laid out, then that's on you as a reader. Like that's a failure to read. And then if later you're like, oh, that was short, I didn't get anything out of it, you just screwed yourself, right?
Agreed. But seriously, can you remove Gigi if he won't change his photo? Because I just think it's like super annoying.
I can't even. Gigi, can you do me a solid? Not Josh.
I'll derail my own
solid and just change your photo just because.
And Tyler also is some weirdo who, like, I mean, he was one of the people who was going to be on the list I wasn't going to allow to attend, but I decided not to do that.
Gigi,
but if they can fuck off.
Josh, you're doing great, man. Things are going good.
No, I know, but I'm just telling you, that's can we? You gave me this night, and I just asked for like 2 simple things. And if you want to boot him, he wants you to boot him, so just do it.
Gigi, for me, my friend, change your photo. And Josh, take a deep breath. It's your night, man. You're doing fantastic.
I know. That's why I want it my way.
Okay. Troy, the floor is yours.
Cool. Can you hear me all right? All right. I'll start with the new
Loud
thing.
And clear.
Which Josh will probably not like this new thing, but it's called Suburban Pastoral. It was a Friday in April. Richard Nixon's heart gave out, and Uncle Chip gave me a tackle box. You can have it, he said. Got a new one in the truck. His mullet dripped down his back, dark curls glittery in the light. The late spring sun smelled like nickels and lemongrass. The oriole songs plaintive against the swaying limbs stirring shade at our feet. We went in opposite directions and paced the banks, casting our lines. The river rolled along coppery and gentle. Every now and again I'd get a bite, but nothing stayed with me. Chip wasn't having any luck either. After a while, cloud shifts over the sun told us to pack it up and herd it in. The moon already high and pale as bone in the pink sky. Guess canned spaghetti's on the menu tonight, he said. We got a fire crackling. A few wet logs hissed and spat back at the flames. He cut the lid off the can and nestled it into a little bed of coals. 10 minutes later, we were eating with our fingers from overturned frisbees, wiping our hands on our pant legs, and drinking warm tap water from old 2-liter pop bottles. Too bad about the fish, he said, but this ain't bad. I nodded. You sure are quiet, he said. You look like you're lost in it. I'm just happy to be here. Me too, kid. Me too. Before calling it a night, he told me stuff out of a children's book. Something about a guy looking for his toe, and another one about a murderer, which he claimed was true. There were lightning flashes in the faraway distances as we climbed into the tent, wind picking up and scratching whispers across the canvas. I fell into a deep sleep, the cadence of his breathing. Awoke a few hours later. Thunder echoed off the white caps, lightning so intense and frequent it bleached the sky. I reached for Chip, but not far enough. In the waiting, nothing went right. Only more distance strengthened by force. Then suddenly the clouds parted, and the gentle sound of my mother's voice, through the war of my blood, called me up to the house to try to smooth away the hurt. The next one's funny. This one's called Speed Date in the ER. And it was in one of my books. I don't remember when it was published. It took me years of searching, endless socials, mixers, and awkward online chats to discover that this is the only place to find the good ones, the ones who still feel something, no matter how damaged or uncertain their feelings may be. Like this one, he's such a good-looking guy, but he keeps saying fuck, grabbing his junk and rocking back and forth in his chair like an epileptic dog. Occasionally, he catches me staring at him, tries to play it cool, hands back at his side, smile on his face. But within a minute or two, he's back at it, grabbing his piece, rocking and saying fuck so loud or loud enough for a reception to hear it. When he finally looks up at me, he smiles, and I smile back, brushing the hair from my eyes. His face is filled with pain, but his eyes are honest. And his snaggletooth smile seems to be telling me, you can put your trust in me. I can learn to love you. He is moaning now, the word fuck no longer is sufficient for conveying the slurred feel of his pain. But he's still smiling occasionally, when our eyes run parallel a second, meet in the center under those bright and sterile lights. I'll bet you he's reading my thoughts right now, seeing as I haven't worn that bonnet going on something like 18 years. And I hope he is too, and reading me deep and sideways, up and down, because then he knows his worth in the world. Maybe he already does, that in this moment, right this second, he's the most important person in my life. I wink, licking my lips, first the top one, then the bottom. I want to make him tremble inside of me. I want him to know that he is the chosen one, the one. And if he were capable of leaving the selfish pain long enough to read the twisted braille of my brain, then he would be ball deep in pussy right now. But he only winces and clutches himself harder, closing his eyes to me, smile all gone and faded from his handsome face, limp and imperious, because he's deep inside himself, searching to find a compartment to store his grace. The 70-year-old next to him staring at me, I squint to conjure the image of my father from him, blurred but spitting just the same. When a name is called, breaking my concentration, and the old man leaves the room right as I get the gumption to spread my legs for him. If even for an instant I made him feel something deeper, if he'd gotten to the point of seeing inside of me, past his pain, then he would have never stopped looking. And then a nurse comes up to me, holding the clipboard, says, have you filled out your forms? No, I say, and I stand to leave. I haven't. I'm not sick. Oh, she says, you waiting for someone? I'm not sick, I tell her. But this time I say it with a hardened voice, pushing past her through the crowd. I walk away from the nurses, away from my anonymous and injured lovers, away from Darius and his mop, his bucket of suds, his brown clothes and janitor's name tag, hiding my smile behind my hands. But before I can even make it to the exit sign, I drop my hands to my sides, retreating, and turn around. Back in the thick of these hurt others, I yell at them, come inside, all of them, inviting them into my body as I open my mouth as wide as it will go. Salvation, I tell them, salvation. And before I know it, one by one, the whole waiting room is moving around inside of me. Now they know the weight of my love. All right. This next one is called orthodontics. My buddy Ed and I had just left the beach, and a guy wearing a dolphin shirt came out of the gas station on the corner swinging handcuffs like he was tricking with a yo-yo. He was taking swigs out of a bottle of Listerine. So he swung his handcuffs and swigged again, and then he stopped cold in his tracks, slammed the bottle down into the concrete, and started talking all this shit about how the earth is flat. That's when we noticed the cop. He was getting up off the ground near the entrance, dusting himself and wiping blood from his lips, yelling, "You stupid motherfucker, I'll shoot you." The dolphin shirt guy's eyes got real wide and he came running towards us, jumped right into the back seat of my car and said, "Let's roll." And that's exactly what we did. We peeled ass out of there, drove recklessly through the side streets, not even talking, just in a blind panic. And that's how we all ended up back at my place, sweating and anxious. His name was Charlie, and he said he'd been dodging cops all day. I offered him some water. He declined and requested something hot, so I put some coffee on him. I said, "Why are they after you?" "Don't know. I think it's because they don't like my thoughts. They don't like what they see," he said. Ed was cool as a frozen ass cucumber. He just sat at the table reading the paper while his burrito cooked in the microwave. I wasn't so cool though. I was pacing and asking questions and stuttering and tripping over myself. Finally, I found my weed and it made my heart tick a bit slower, a small laughter in my veins, but I was still a bit wigged out by the whole thing. I looked at Ed. He shrugged. "Seriously," I said, "what the fuck was I thinking? We don't know this guy." Charlie laughed. "Charles Baker's, straight out of Kansas City. Been here 10 years and change. I punched that pig back there for harassing the kid buying the Snickers. Don't get me wrong, I'm plenty drunk, but that fucker had it coming. Smug fuck. I thought you said he didn't like what he saw inside your head," I said. That too, but that fucker had it coming." Ed chewed his burrito slowly, talked through his food. "I like you. Here, have a seat, man. Pigs are always up to some shit, aren't they?" "You got that right," said Charlie, sitting down. "One of them stole my son and put a computer chip in his butt, and he comes back home after a year or two and doesn't even know who the fuck I am." I was still feeling pretty weird about everything, but eased up soon enough, especially when Charlie got to talking about how the world is flat again. I knew it was stupid. Something about it, though, just closed off all the nerve points and made me numb. And after an hour or two, I really started to like him. We played checkers and smoked weed while watching Jeopardy. And that Charlie, he was smart as a whip. One question was about a book by some guy named Boccaccio. "What is the Decameron?" said Charlie. And the girl on the screen said the wrong thing. And old Alex Trebek said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Gina. The right answer is the Decameron. The Decameron." Ed and I just looked back and forth at each other, unbelieving. Whole game went on like that. During a commercial break, Charlie asked if he could use my phone. So I threw him my cell. He dialed and let it ring and got no answer. Tried again. Maybe it was a different number. I don't know. But this time somebody answered and he said, "You got some?" "Yeah, okay. Well, long story. I guess you could probably just come over here. I got some new friends." Yeah, they're cool as fuck." "Hey, hold on. He motioned for me to come over. "Hey, could you talk to her? My friend Vicky, she needs a ride." I don't know why, but I gave her directions. "That's right," I said. No, I left at the McDonald's." I found her voice annoying, but was intrigued. I thought maybe we could make it into a party, just the four of us. She was there within the hour, and we still had another episode of Jeopardy to go. But before she joined us, she opened her bag and pulled out a box of Cheerios, a compass, and a little baggie of meth, which Charlie proceeded to smoke out of what appeared to be a light bulb. "What's the compass for?" I asked. "Getting around," she said. Vicky beat Charlie by one question. He took it well. Ed and I lost by a ton, so we decided to start in on the booze, get some music playing, and see how fast we could kill our lost bummer and start smiling again. We all did our best at taking in the chemicals around us quickly, and then we sat around waxing philosophic. Charlie talked on and on about the great literature of the world, and Vicky kept on about the flatness of the earth. "Bullshit, the earth's flat," said Ed. "Where the fuck you people come up with this shit?" "Well," she said, "don't you see? The oceans and rivers would fall off into space if the world was round." "Fuck no, it's called gravity," he said. "The fact that rivers flow and waves exist are fact enough, it's a globe." I don't know. I said, let's hear Vicky out. Ain't shit else to hear, she said. I already said it all. Okay, said Ed. Explain this. If the world is flat, how come nobody has ever taken a picture of the edge? Because it's far too big. No one could ever possibly make that journey. Bullshit, said Ed. Come on, I said. I think she might have a point. A few hours later, she cornered me in the bathroom while I was peeing and said, I'll show you my edge. I said, what about Charlie? He's my brother, she said, but I knew she was lying. We went at it a bit right there in the bathroom. Then she left, just shy of a few strokes in, because I was feeling a little woozy, and she wanted to give me some space. But I'm telling you, it felt like real love somehow. Something about the way she worked her mind and body. When I woke up, the sun was spiking me in the face with footballs. Ed was tied up in the kitchen. Charlie and Vicky were gone. Nothing seemed to miss until I untied Ed and said, fuck, what a night. Let's go surf. I'm down, he said. When we got out into the garage, we saw those motherfuckers had stolen our surfboards right off the roof of my car and left all their bullshit behind. For instance, her teeth marks are still on my collarbone. That was weeks ago. She's already moved on, a new life in another land. I hope she comes back for her cereal box, her compass, and her stupid denial that the world is somehow beautifully round and spinning. But I'm not holding my breath. Still, think of it. I could have promised her a future with braces and a glow-in-the-dark retainer so her teeth would never shift again. I could have given her walks to the beach on Sunday mornings with our make-believe child. I could have taken her to that impossible edge and pushed her off. Next time, if there is one, I think I'll loop a rope around her long front tooth and tether her here to this earth. She wouldn't need a compass. She wouldn't need anything. Charlie wouldn't have to exist. Neither would I. She could have it all. Okay, I got a couple of little tiny guys. Since Zach published this, I'll read like 3 little tinies. Smallies. Yeah, that's what they're called. This is called Missing Dad. When I miss my dad, I stare in the mirror and say, faggot. I say it over and over until my voice and face become his. Then and only then do I feel at home. This is called Lonely Writers Who Moonlight as Politicians. Fucked an elephant in the mailbox, drank a donkey in the kitchen, light spread thin through skinny blinds. In the dimming, I twisted my ass into a chair. I licked a lizard off a chin. I saw the color of God. God looked neon, like weird painted lips. I kissed a pig in the fallout shelter. I sweltered, waiting for nothing. All right, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Troy, Troy, that fucking rocked, Troy. I, I have to say, I want to say a quick thing about the father.
Wait, do it again. Clapping.
Huh? Oh, hey.
It's filling up, William.
Hey, I never doubted it, Josh. Troy, as you can see by the enthusiasm of the audience, this is great. We like have almost like a live studio audience. But anyway, Troy, as you can see, like people are going wild for these, and no fucking wonder, man. In terms of the short ones, the dad one, that killed me. That absolutely killed me. That it's so good because first of all, like the central joke is inherently funny, but it's also like fundamentally true and speaks to an actual dynamic that exists between many fathers and sons. And the idea that you'd like be nostalgic for that dynamic is, I think, is not false, is not wrong, is not a thing that doesn't happen, right? Like sometimes you really do cultivate a nostalgia for something, even for a relationship, even if it's a deeply toxic one. So I thought that was incredible. But the first few longer stories, holy shit, Troy, especially the last one you read, but also the one about the waiting room. I've talked at length in the past about what I really love about your work, but I need to say something that occurred to me hearing those two pieces back to back, the waiting room piece and the flat earth piece, let's call it, is how good you are at marrying like a sense of real mundane authentic lived reality with like really like mythic deeply surreal ideas, right? Like there's this really unbelievable balance in a lot of your work between like dialogue and characters who feel like they exist unequivocally in this world with all the like mundane and petty things that come with that, and like these incredibly like mythic visionary themes. I mean the final few lines of the waiting room one are just fucking transformative. It turns something that's this incredibly astute character study into something like huge thematically and into something mythic. And the way that like the flat earth dynamic in that last story, it's the same kind of thing where you have like these these characters who seem very small, right? Who have these very small lives, like who are addicted to drugs and who are punching cops and talking in this unbelievably like authentic seeming very human dialect that you would expect these characters to talk in. But at the end, there's this like incredibly romantic, fantastical kind of tilt where the like when the narrator like conceives of the thought of like taking this like meth head out to the edge of the earth, the very edge of the earth, to show her like, oh man, it's just the way those two components come together, or like nothing else, or like nothing I've read or heard from any other author. So man, you fucking rock, and I'm sorry for rambling. Uh, and I talked for so long, Josh left. Oh, sorry, Troy. Did you have something to say?
No, I was just saying thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Uh,
Troy, was that the actual story, the last long one, that someone else took?
Yeah, it got plagiarized like pretty bad.
It's one
Holy
of my,
shit, really?
it's one
Yeah.
of my favorite low key, like, Troy, you handle that so fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a big ass thing, wasn't a huge drama. Like, Troy did the opposite of like what I would have done.
Yeah, I mean, he must have, because this is the first time hearing about it.
Yeah, I think I like posted about it once and then got over it. But
Wow, that fucking sucks, though.
yeah,
I mean, it's a good story.
thanks, thanks. Man.
It is.
I'd steal that. I'm surprised. That's the one thing I've never been accused of yet.
I someday, Josh, someday. So, Josh, I think Kurt is up next, but I wasn't sure if you wanted
I
to.
was going to say hi, Kurt. And actually, oh man. So I have this pile of, you know what? Wait for like 30 seconds.
I hope he brings out a pile of fucking ketamine.
No, the ketamine thing is fucked because I don't like. I mean, Kurt, the narrator of Kurt's book loves ketamine, and
You're not gonna go in the K hole for Kurt.
well, no, I K-holed immediately the first time I ever did ketamine because I thought it was like similar drugs, and it wasn't. But Kurt wrote "Good at Drugs,"
And you edited it.
and this is but it was mostly just consistent. There were a couple of characters. Okay, no, I caught some things, and this is the edition. I ordered two versions because the first one they both have an acknowledgement section, but only the second one, because I caught some things, has thanks to Josh in it. So I had to order a second copy of the book so I could have the copy that actually acknowledged me. Which wasn't why I did the whole thing. I would have done it anyways. But if there is a copy out there that says thanks Josh in print, and it's a book I like, I will order the second copy. So Kurt wrote that, and it's actually interesting because I think in the literature, there's a lot of guitar music, I know Zach Smith is here, looking very shoegaze. But there's not a lot of like great independent literature about dance music, although I discovered some recent stuff from France in the 90s. But typically it's guitar music, it's guitar people. I don't know what it is. Some people are like actively antagonistic about dance music. Anyways, Kurt wrote one of, and at that time the best, like, but now it's like I'm discovering there is a little bit more out there, but like one of the best just indie lit books about dance music, and it's about festivals. It's a festival experience. His novel Good at Drugs takes place over the course of a weekend festival. But yeah, I was surprised that there wasn't more. I always felt a little bit alienated, and Kurt made me feel right at home, except for the ketamine stuff, because that's fucked.
Josh, for tonight, I really wanted to write a story called Josh Sherman shops for white label disco vinyl in a record shop in New York, but I didn't have time.
Well, whatever you bring, I'm sure it's going to be, you know. Well, I'm not sure it's going to be great, actually. You sometimes you think you know people, and you like most of their stuff, and they bring something, and it's. But, anyways.
Unfortunately, I did write a piece about guitar music. I feel like, and I'm going to read it today. So I feel like a traitor to our people, Josh, dance music aficionados.
Well, but I've now branded you, right? So it's like the
For
branding. Now you're just the electronic music person doing the guitar thing. I think that's diversity. I think that's what they call diversity when they use that word. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is a piece called hold on, sorry. My computer is bad. This is a piece called the one time Pearl Jam was offered acid, but Eddie Vedder turned it down on behalf of all of the band. I read it once at a reading in San Diego. I don't think anyone who is here was there. D.T. Robbins from Rejection Letters said he was going to publish it, but he hasn't yet. So it's like, who knows? You guys might get the exclusive. Okay. The one time Pearl Jam was offered acid, but Eddie Vedder turned it down on behalf of all of the band. The poster had 5 bands on it that no one outside the city had heard of. But those are always the best shows, aren't they? Lined with locals like nothing else matters. Because who gives a shit about a national act when we've got all these guys and girls who can really fucking play right here in our own backyard? Jerry and Lane opened for Iggy last time he came through town, and now are just too big to casually play around. Mark stays out in the burbs mostly and only anoints us with his presence on special occasions. Kurt's in Wisconsin recording his 2nd record. Andrew died. You ever see that movie, The Warriors? That's Seattle. Not quite as violent, though. Sure, we fight, but mostly things are about the music. Roving groups of guys sticking together like a pack. Almost all of them in bands of their own, or multiple bands, or hell, even theoretical bands that will probably never see the light of day. I've had a couple of those myself. Out of the game, though. Lose the beat enough times and other musicians stop calling for a drummer that can't keep time. Jeff and Stone would be okay. I was sad about Andrew, but word is they're picking up the pieces just like they did after Green River. The box isn't so heavy, but it does cover my view. Parked across the street from off-ramp, it's not the safest decision to cross a major street blind like this. But I say fuck it and bolt out into the middle of the road with my eyes closed, praying to a God I don't even believe in and hoping that the car stopped for me instead of plowing my skull into the pavement and ending it all early. But things could be worse than going in an instant. Yet I make it to the other side without hearing so much as a screech and kick open the double doors with my foot. Brooke is running security, so I give him a nod and don't have to make excuses about what the fuck I think I'm doing. Like, I'm not here selling merch here at least once a week, Gary, you absolute fuckhead. Hit the folding table in the back while Tad finishes up sound check. Check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. A little more guitar. Testing out the scream for good measure. Yeah, that'll work just fine. Scream always works. It's what separates us up here from any other local scenes. Some really good screams. But not just for the sake of it. Real raw emotion like. Everyone I know has been through some serious shit, and that probably comes out in their music. No posers here. I drop the box and start rifling through custom shirts I printed in my garage to find for each band and lay them out on the table, making sure that perfect retail fold stays intact. Some experience of this, even if my job at JCPenney only lasted the summer. Prints look clean. Did good. Tad, Catbutt, Flop, and Dickless all in a row. One other band on the bill, but they weren't interested, so I'm not interested in them either. Don't even know their name. Don't care. How much for a Dickless shirt? A voice asked before I'm able to take out the blank piece of paper I brought to write $10 on and in process eliminate this question. $10, I say without picking up my head out of the box, confirming inventory counts and size suspicions. Trade you a 10 strip for it. She can't be more than 14. Little kid with her palm outstretched and 10 hits of LSD right in the middle of it. I look around, panicked. Whose little sister is this? Some kind of joke? Doors aren't even open, and yet here's this girl who shouldn't even be allowed inside this kind of place, offering me a drug I hadn't had the pleasure to come across in this short life. Heroin, cocaine, mushrooms, marijuana, usual, sure, but not this one. Wasn't a prank show, hidden cameras, nothing out of the ordinary. Just everybody working hard at minding their own business, completely indifferent to our exchange. Her eyes are deadly serious, like this is all the bartering power she has in the world, and she is going to get that t-shirt no matter what I say. Might as well cave instead of her stealing it later. Where'd you get that? I ask. My brother saw the Grateful Dead in Sacramento this summer. He traded it for my allowance this week because he got ripped off on some bunk weed. She responds, Spitfire, far older in soul than actuality. Just a baby. Do you want it or not? Of course I want the drug. What did we learn from Andrew's death? Not a lot, but I mean, acid isn't heroin. Acid is acid. Plus, I don't feel great about this 14-year-old holding on to a powerful drug like that. Taking it would be bettering society. Yeah, I'd be making a difference. Yeah, I tell her. Great, she responds. I'm a small. Goods and services, and I slipped the stuff straight into my flannel chest pocket, only realizing later in the bathroom that she'd given me only 9 hits instead of 10. I wonder for a moment if she lied to me or her brother lied to her, or where did the buck stop? And it's only when I take a hit and hold it on my tongue, staring into the mirror and hoping that my eyeballs turn to goo, that the thought of her taking a hit for herself comes to mind. Of course that's it. 14 ain't as young as it used to be. When I emerge, Catbutt's on stage, and the young girl is at the front of the club, jumping up and down like an animal caught in a trap, but still partying about it. There aren't many people here, but the band plays like they got a full room anyways. This was the energy. Bring all you've got and the rest will come. Or not. I don't know. I just make t-shirts. The girl is clearly high. Is that how I'll look? I hope not, but I decided not to think too hard about it. Catbutt are weird. I like that. The acid hits and counting change becomes impossible. It's like money doesn't matter and music sounds much more fun anyways. Dickless is on stage and Kelly's voice is something else, I'll tell you. I wonder if it's natural or if she's destroying her vocal cords for the entertainment value. I look around, but I don't see the girl anymore. Sure, the room is filled in a bit, but you'd think buying the shirt and being a 14-year-old high on LSD and all, that she stand out a bit more. Oh well, not my problem. Some fucking guy comes up at the moment where I'm particularly entranced and asks how much, even though there's a sign to tell him. I turn my view from the stage and stare him dead in the eyes and say, not for sale. He calls me a punk and I laugh in his face and we stand off for a moment before he tries to flip the table, it not getting more than a few inches off the ground before my reflexes kick in and keep it back to earth. I feel like a superhero and I give him the middle finger as hard as I know how. A simple, nothing altercation, and yet Gary, the piece of shit motherfucker of a bouncer, tells me to pack it up. And I can't be bothered to argue with Gary. So I shove the shirts into the box and tell him Tad's going to be pissed about this, and I'd be telling him who's really at fault here. Hide the shirts behind the speaker before things really start to become a blur. I pogo and I mosh and I run into and subsequently avoid an X. And I watch the strings of instruments blur in motion, wobbling under the pressure of fingers playing to a rhythm I could never manage to keep myself. Music is awesome. I love this city. Jeff and Stone stand in a corner with a couple of guys I've never seen before, but social anxiety be damned, and I head that way because they're old friends, and I haven't seen them around much lately. Some low-key high fives, and I'm sure they can tell I'm high. What's the name of the new band? I eventually ask. They tell me Mookie Blaylock, and I say, that's a good name, even though I don't mean it. Let me know if you need any shirts. Thanks, we will. Body language tells me they don't really want to be in this conversation any longer, so I turn and leave and avoid overstaying my welcome, but realize I have something that might actually be worth their time. Do you guys want some acid? I ask, feeling good and figuring they could too. Acid? They light up, both looking like they want to accept, but some guy steps in and politely turns it down on their behalf. Something about a meeting in the morning. Sounds sellout to me. Eyes hit the floor dejected instead of me or at their friend, silently accepting their fate. The city was attracting a lot of out-of-towners lately. Hangers-on like this guy. Build something worthwhile and everyone wants a taste. Later, they hit the stage with that new friend on vocals. And only then do I realize they'd always been the fifth band on that bill. And it probably wasn't the right time or place to offer them the kind of drugs that would prevent them from playing to the best of their ability. New guys got something, if not a little bit too much self-righteousness. Those guys probably think I'm an asshole. No way they let me make them shirts now.
Kurt, that rocked, Kurt. First of all, the title is phenomenal. You had me at the title. That's such a good fucking title. I was like, yes. But even the title aside, I love the way this piece unfurls because you get a real, like, almost like anthropological, like, sense of this scene at the beginning, which I love. Like, you really get immersed not only in this character, but in, like, the rock world that he inhabits and his, like, low level, like, position in it and all of the, like, biases and stuff he brings. And then at no step over the course of this story did I have any fucking clue where it was going, even though you spoiled it in the title. When the 14-year-old girl showed up, I was like, what's going on here? And then the acid, and then she, of course, she took a hit for herself, but everything about that and the way she explained it, like the fucking, like, almost like RPG quest chain, like, way that the acid ends up in this character's hands is incredible. Like the bunk weed and the allowance and all of this. It's just like phenomenally well plotted and really unpredictable. And more than that, really, really fucking funny. So that was a great piece, Kurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Josh. That was fun.
No, it was. And I'm glad you were able to read. And I was able to introduce you maybe to some of the regulars here who, I mean, they should have already got your book, but now, and if they were going to buy your book, again, caveat, this was very guitar heavy. Wait, I don't know who I'm marketing this to because nobody here likes electronic music. So actually, no. Kurt's book is a lot like it's a lot like what he just read. No, but you're right. There is the humor and actually the scene. You're in the scene there. It encapsulates a scene. And so yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. And Josh, I think at this point I've lost track of whether I'm introducing the readers or you are, but I believe Nathaniel Duggan is up next.
Oh, so yes, and if he is, again, sorry, I brought out one sec.
Bring them all.
Author of the forthcoming poetry collection, Death Egg Volume 1, which has actually some of the best artwork of an indie book that I've seen.
And I think the final version I've seen, see, that's the review copy, which is what I have too. But they've put up some pictures of the final version, and the final version looks even better. It's even more effective at capturing that like pseudo manga look.
Yeah, well, I hope to get one of those as well. But I think that at some point I'm going to have to actually write about one of these arcs to continue the privileges. But yeah, so I don't know if it's included in the book, but Nathaniel graciously asked me to blurb the book, and I didn't know what to say. But I knew that I always loved his tweets, and often, whether it be his tweets actually or his work coming up on Twitter, I mentioned to Sheila. Sheila knows this. I mean, I was a bit jealous of him too. I thought, I wished I was doing kind of what he was doing, and because he writes from a place I think is similar to some of my stuff. But anyways, I was asked to blurb in exchange for this book. I actually didn't deliver a blurb, but part of my email was apparently blurby. Like you could use the email I sent thanking them for sending me the book as a blurb. And I think maybe Zach did that. I told him to. He suggested it. It was his idea. And it's not because I didn't have care, but after I read the book afterwards, and I was like, no, I don't really have anything more to say. I mean, I think the initial email, this lived up to everything I thought it would be based on everything I knew about Nathaniel's work. This isn't trying to exonerate myself for laziness and anything else, but in any case, another great introduction for a writer I admire. Nathaniel Duggan, author of Death Egg, everybody.
Thank you for that, Josh. That was a great introduction. two householding items I want to start with. Josh, I mean this sincerely. The fact that your mother was here tonight really means a lot to me. I think that's really cool. That's like a really good deal of support from a mother to a son, and I really respect that. Second housekeeping item. I think we might have like a misunderstanding because I thought that this was my reading. So I'm here to read poems from my forthcoming debut collection.
Nathaniel, if you want a book launch reading when the book actually launches, send me a DM. We'll do it. We'll hook you up.
In DMs, I told everybody this was the Death Egg reading. Actually, I did say that.
I think we're here for the
I
Death
thought it would
Egg.
get people more involved. Like that's why
Yeah.
Zach's here and
your mom.
and my
So
mom.
it's
Oh, my mom is
and
also
your mom, Josh. So this is forthcoming, Back Patio Press. You can pre-order it at like fatdog.com or something. The Death Egg is the final egg. It's the last egg. So anyway, now that I've got the householding out of the way, let's read some poems. I've seen so much ass on the internet, I've become numb to it. Grocery store fried chicken, potato chips for breakfast. I could tell that some part of my heart had gone rotten, but I didn't feel like stopping. This next poem, I might need to explain a little bit. So the title of this poem is the first line. So when I read the title, you guys need to know that that's the first line of the whole poem. Okay? Like it's not like a separate title, it's the first line. Okay, I think you guys get it. Close the sky and open the hatches to the nuclear submarine of your last hangover in which you swore never to kill again, samurai with the wooden blade. Life as the incremental process of dulling yourself. Just a little something to take the edge off. Beer after work, garden hose of whiskey, the futile betrayal of your last lover spawning a dozen centuries of darkness, because we needed to outlaw heaven in the part of each late afternoon where there's a morsel of death and the microwave dings blue. Okay. So I've actually never really read anything before. I'm a little unfamiliar with it and I'm a little dehydrated. But yeah, so this is my first reading. Thank you, Josh.
just have some White Claw. It'll hydrate you.
No, that's water. So we've been drinking, I think Josh, you had that like pink drink.
Pink, wait me. I'm about to crack it. Oh, no, maybe I shouldn't. But yeah, I have it.
Crack it open. We're drinking some of this.
This is
We started with the
absolute of a
absolute.
laugh, but that's just yeah.
Go with the absolute. But anyway, so I'm a little nervous about this next piece because I don't know how to read very well. I don't know how to do exclamation points when I read. And this next piece has an exclamation point. Like I don't know how to do that with my voice.
I think you should just say the word exclamation point. I think that let's not even try inflection or anything complicated. This is your first reading. Just
Let's
say
just
the
go
word
for it.
exclamation point. Yeah,
All right. So this next one, I call it Blood Beam. So many frivolous things in this world. Exclamation point. A supermoon every month now. Everything in the news sounding like a signature attack. Bivalent booster. Burst wolf claw. Dark digivolve. Learning a new beam attack. Call it blade beam. The playground had a cutting wind to it. The rain lasted an entire recess. I slumped home. Unmarked buoy of the soul. A car dealership in Missouri. So this one, I think he might be a regular on here, actually. I think he might have a little bit of infamy, but I think you guys know Gigi Rowland. So for this next piece, for the very first line, I consulted Gigi. I messaged Gigi. I said, look, man, I've got writer's block. I need to write a poem. I don't know how. Can you help me? So he sent me
And
one
then
line.
he posted a photo of your mom as his display photo during an online reading.
I don't think he did that to my mom.
Oh,
But so he wrote this first line for this next poem, and I want everyone to be aware that this line, this first starting line, was written by Gigi, and then I branched off from there. I kind of took Gigi's themes and I built upon them. So this next poem is dedicated to Gigi. I call it King Kong. At the zoo, showing porn to the gorillas. On a half moon of nausea somewhere between prom and the next interstate. My hangover calling to say, it fucked your mother. Feeling that I am the monkey. We are all the monkey, maybe. Inside everyone, something rages. Ideally, it would be infinite and righteous. It would be King Kong dismantling Godzilla. It would be the cold blood shucked from your junior high nemesis, not this hemorrhoid of dread, pachinko of shed skin. America is only exceptional in some regards. This next one, I mean, I don't know what to say. I went for a walk in the woods today. I got a tick on me. It didn't attach, so that's good. So this next one I call Light Missile. You'd been the victim of a meaningless hope. I was nostalgic for a grace I'd never fallen from. Now it's too late, the way it always is. We can't rule out interplanetary bullshit, this cosmic misfortune, this crow at my bird feeder. But no one can chart the astrology of the Earth-destroying laser. Not one president can authorize the ultimate missile, and you remain forever out of range of my beam attacks. This next one, more beam attacks, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to read those. They've got the exclamation. There's a lot of exclamation points, so I guess I'll just include them. All right. In the very end, I was your ashes, virus twin, existing for the sake of a peculiar justice. Meteor wing, positron laser, exclamation point, exclamation point. I lost the house and kids. I rewatched my childhood cartoons. The heart's walls cannot be destroyed. Gaia Forza! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I remain impenetrable to light and missiles and to people too. All right. This is the last one. So thank you guys again for coming to my reading by my book. You can find me on Twitter. It's the @ symbol ASDKFJASDLFJD. So right before we get to the final poem, I just want to read a quick excerpt from the Sonic the Hedgehog Wikipedia page. That's not like Wikipedia, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm talking about like the official wiki for Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game series. I need a, getting dry. All right. So it says, the Death Egg, Desu Egu, is an object that appears in the Sonic the Hedgehog series. It is a massive orbital fortress and space station constructed by Dr. Eggman, and the first and most famous of its space stations. Described as the Doctor's greatest fortress, the Death Egg is a vast, powerful stronghold that hosts some of the villain's deadliest creations of all time. The Death Egg has well served as Robotnik's ultimate weapon and a key component in his various quests for world dominance. All right, so this last poem, I call it Death Egg. You want in your life a doomsday device. You want a city detonated. Birds are softer lately. We miss beer ads and war. The bombs don't go off, fast food ends history, and the final egg is the Death Egg. fortress of loss and takeout receipts, conveyor of a destruction so complete it kills you backwards, birthing you again and again.
Well, that was some of my favorite. Yeah, you can hear we have a live studio audience, as William noted.
So, Nathaniel, this is rare because usually people read shit at Misery Loves Company and then later they send me their book and then I forget to ever read their book. But this is a rare instance where I've read the book. I've read the book in its entirety, and man, I fucking love it. Like, I am in awe of what you've done here because you have captured a psychological state that I have felt many times in my life, but that I rarely see in literature. And that's that sense of like it's that sense of incredible insignificance that your brain responds to by making something hugely significant. It's this thing where like your life becomes so empty and banal that suddenly everything takes on this kind of incredible, tragic, manic potential and meaning. And I love the way you capture that in these poems because oh my God, you actually read one of my favorite poems in the collection tonight, and that's the Close the Sky poem, and especially the section about the samurai with the dulled blade. It's so perfect. What you say here, life is the incremental process of dulling yourself. That with the image of the like fallen samurai who has like the bamboo blade instead of the actual like the actual blade. This is a little bit of an aside, but there's a great film called Seppuku by a Japanese director whose name um, escapes me. And one of the central images of that film is a disgraced samurai being forced to commit ritual suicide with a bamboo blade instead of like an actual blade, and just the like tremendous pain and horror of that scene, but also the weird kind of like slapstick quality of that image, the way in which, yeah, this is the most terrible and painful thing that could ever happen to you, but it's also hilarious that it's happening to you. And so many of your poems perfectly capture exactly that weird like tension between something that's really banal and really hilarious, but also like on some level actually really profound and really tragic. And it's a real fucking tightrope walk, my friend, and you pull it off effortlessly. Anyway, I loved it, man. Thank you. And Josh, where'd you go, Josh?
I'm tending to the real lively party we have going on here.
Hey, that thing.
Yeah.
That's egg.
My God, Josh.
I'm a host. I'm a polite guy. People are here. They're real people in my environment. I'm taking care of them.
Josh, I've talked about this before, but I hate parties. I don't like parties. I almost never attend parties because they're too overstimulating, they're too loud, too many people are talking. There's too much like joy in most parties. But Josh, tonight are hosting a party I would love to attend.
I'm a party dictator, right? You saw how I treated Ryan. You're gonna sit in the corner. Okay, it's your time to read. You can get up. You can sit down in my seat for a little while. Now get out, back down. Everybody here is whispering, even though the camera is on, even though the thing is on mute, because I've told them I want to hear what's going on. Everybody's very respectful though too, which is nice. But it's a culture of respect, William, that we fostered here.
And he literally said he would love to join.
And I would love for you to join is what I meant to say.
Next time, Josh, next time. Josh, Zach is up next, right?
Yeah, I think so. And we're getting near to me, but not the main event, because Zach is actually the headliner. Kurt's name looked better as the big name on top. So that was before we got Zach. So my initial intuition was to boot Kurt from the top for Zach's friend of Tao Lin's. But then I thought, no, aesthetically, Kurt's name just looks better at the top. We'll put Zach right below that. But in my head, in my heart, I always kind of felt like Zach was the headliner. But also Kurt was really important. So now Zach is going to read, and there is no headliner. I'm the headliner, actually.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that introduction. I have various things to read tonight. I didn't know what the vibe was going to be like, so there's a pretty good vibe here, though. So I think it'll work out.
How would you describe the vibe?
It's pretty good. This is called Savoring the Single Mulberry That Cracked the Earth in Half. And it's available in this book. I don't know.
Zach, you beat me to it because I have that book. I still haven't reviewed it or read it, but it's coming right after New Millennium Boys. Thank you, though, for anyways.
Yeah, I believe you, Josh. I spilled all the yogurt on the floor. I'm putting yogurt back into the container, into the tub thing. It's a big tub. It's a lot of yogurt. 2 spoons to be quicker. Not actually that quick. Trying 1 spoon plus a hand to, wall the yogurt in. Big scoops. Typed 3 eyes on accident, but it seems good, like a branding thing. Big scoops. Okay. The spoon still sucks. Just my hands, just using my hands. Fuck it. Yogurt everywhere. No time. They're just hands. Yogurt isn't bad for your hands. It's probably good for your hands. And the yogurt is more important. It's like $30 worth of yogurt. That thin, whole milk yogurt. If this were Greek yogurt, it'd be easy. Greek yogurt's thick as shit. You could just pick it up like a baseball. But this is the runny yogurt. It just keeps spreading out. It's lumpy, but not that lumpy. I always wonder about the lumps. Should yogurt be lumpy? It's probably fine. God damn it all. Not gonna lick my fingers. Not yet. This is probably ruining all the yogurt, but I gotta try. I have to try and save the yogurt. You can't get that $30 back. If you can save $20, that's good. $10 is worth it. Even saving $2.50 worth of this yogurt is worth it. Scoop, slop, scoop, slop. Make it a Viking song. Heave, ho, mother, fucker. Yogurt up, yogurt down. This doesn't look right. Lots of spots and specks. Off-white yogurt. Probably no good. I can't remember the last time I washed my hands. Living alone means I don't have anyone to give a yeast infection to. That used to be my problem in high school. I gave Marla yeast infections like every 2 weeks because I never washed my hands. She used yogurt to fix them somehow. What the fuck was that? Yogurt fixing yeast infections. Yogurt as vagina medicine. $30 worth. I started washing my hands so I could finger her more. Then we broke up and I stopped. I never did get back into the habit. It saves money. Saves on soap. Live frugally. Less is more. Save the whales. Save the yogurt. Heave, ho. Heave, ho. This isn't that much yogurt. I should give up. No, it's a lot. It's worth it. But I gotta take a break. It's not spreading out as much anymore. It's stabilized. I can stop for a second. I'm sweating. It's so hot. Not used to hunching over like this. Feeling kind of dizzy. Stood up too fast. Need to eat more yogurt. Maybe I'm low in iron. I'm breathing. I should wash my hands. I should go to the doctor. Push-ups, deadlifts. That's how it goes. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. Small steps. Eat yogurt. That was a step. Gut bacteria, protein, healthy fats, and it's cheap. $30 goes a long way. It felt like a good start. Gotta look out for myself. I'm all on my own. If I don't scoop it all up, what else am I going to do? I'm not like going to hose off the floor. I don't own any hoses. I don't own any mops. I have to do this no matter what. So I might as well do it now. I have yogurt on my hands already. God, there's yogurt everywhere. And there's sweat everywhere. Can't scratch my balls. Don't do it. More steps. Buy more underwear. Then wear the underwear. Gotta make a list. Gotta get a list together. Marla had lots of lists. My hands are sweaty. Jesus, okay. Salty yogurt is a thing. It's okay. It's a European thing. I should Google it to be sure. Put it on the list. The yogurt in the tub looks kind of bad. It looks sandy. There's sand on the floor. I don't know why, but I've never cleaned my floor. I don't own any brooms. I don't own many anythings or something. I should buy a broom. Here's the list. $30 yogurt, $30 soap, $30 underwear, $30 broom. Use the fuck out of it all. Big sweeps, baby, big sweeps, girl. I could pitch a jingle. Pitch a jingle. Okay, hoo boy, I can do this. Think about the future. Think about tomorrow. Think about eating yogurt and living a good life. Scoop, slop, scoop, slop. Feels like a metaphor. I should call Marla. No, she's dead. Okay, I think I saved like $15 worth of yogurt. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Zach.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh. William.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure. Were you about to read a second piece? I just felt like maybe I interrupted you there.
Oh yeah. Am I allowed to read more things?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're the you and Kurt and Nathaniel and myself are all the headliners. So each of us gets as much time as we need because they're
Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
Wait, did you say thank you?
Yeah.
No, I thought so. So you're welcome. This one.
Yeah. All right. This piece isn't in any books or anything, but I thought it'd be fun for the sort of good vibe that's here at the reading. It's called Roadie, and I brought a prop. This is Roadie. I don't know if it's really working. Can you guys see Rhodey? Okay.
We can see Rhodey. He's
there. He is.
Can you see Rhodey's butthole?
Not. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Very clearly.
Thanks. All right. So that's the context for this. We have this inflatable horse toy for my toddler. We bought it for $10 off the Facebook Marketplace. It's called a Rhodey. Every Rhodey is handmade in Italy. New, they cost like $60. They're big, like toddler sized, so a toddler can ride them like you would ride a horse. But since our Rhodey was secondhand, it was underinflated. I looked up a video on how to inflate the Rhodey. The air hole by which you inflate a Rhodey is in the center of its ass. The air hole is the Rhodey's asshole. Our Rhodey is blue, and its asshole is white. In the video, a woman removes the Rhodey's ass plug and inflates it with a handheld pump. The video has a sweet, smooth jazz soundtrack. I got my basketball pump and removed my Rhodey's ass plug. My Rhodey deflated even more than it was before. I inserted the pump tip into my Rhodey's asshole. I pumped air into my Rhodey's asshole. When my Rhodey was full of air, it unexpectedly farted out the tip of the air pump and started deflating. I reinserted the air pump tip into my Rhodey's asshole and reflated it, holding onto the tip to keep the air in. But then I had to remove the tip and reinsert my Rhodey's ass plug. I removed the tip and air started coming out fast. I inserted the ass plug, but my Rhodey unexpectedly farted it out. It went very high into the air, like maybe 1.5 feet, directly into the air, and my roadie deflated almost entirely. I did this over and over again, each time fucking up some small part of the delicate ass pumping process. I kept pumping air into my roadie's asshole, and I kept farting out the pump or ass plug, and thus all the air. I was sweating. My wrists were hurting, but I was getting better at it. I was beginning to anticipate when my roadie would try to fart out the pump or plug. I kept the pump tip in my roadie's asshole. I covered its asshole with my finger. I inserted its ass plug. I pressed down quickly on the ass plug so it was wedged deep in the asshole. It was the best I could do. It was my singularly best attempt at inflating my roadie by putting air into its asshole. In the moment, I felt myself acknowledge that I would not be able to improve on my process. This was my limit. My roadie did not fart out the ass plug. I squeezed my roadie to determine its level of inflation. It was just as semi-inflated as it had been at the start. Thank you. All right, I've got a couple smaller things. This is a smallie called "Taking Care." It was published on the internet. Dad was driving me to school. I was telling him about Pokemon stuff, but I kept having to stop and restart because I was getting confused about some of the names and like which ones come first when they evolve and stuff. When I was done telling him about the Pokemon I liked, he said, "Hey, watch this," and ran over a pedestrian. Thank you. Okay, I have a couple short poems from what was going to be a collaborative poetry collection by myself and some people about gas stations. But I just picked out a couple that I wrote to read. So the gas station sort of gives you context for the poems. This one's called "Pay at the Pump." Inserting a piece of turkey into the credit card slot. Looking at the message, "Please see cashier." Walking into store, approaching cashier, offering the turkey slice, forgetting to ask for a receipt. And this one's called "Gas Station 2.0. A hot dog for a headstone, getting head in the hot zone, pumping the gas. I call my dick the gas. A hot dog on a head-shaped stone, panting like a dog eating pussy. Thank you. Okay, and if you'll have me, I'd love to read one more.
Got it.
Okay, I'll go back to the book. You can purchase it from places. All right, this story is called "Scaffolding." I think it was originally published on X-Ray Literary Magazine. I went golfing. I hit the ball. It landed in the hole. That equals a hole in one. I walked approximately 227 yards to the green place where the hole was that the ball went in. I looked in the golf hole, the hole where the ball goes, where mine went, but I didn't see my ball. It was dark in the ball hole. I lay down on the green stuff around the ball hole on my stomach and put my face up to the hole. I thought maybe it was just really deep or something and I could reach in up to my elbow and get it. I remembered that was a thing at some places, ball holes that were like 1.5 feet deep for some reason. Someone was telling me about that once at like a party in college maybe. I remember he leaned back and arced his hand up and then down in front of him with his eyes wide in a look of concentration. Like he was reaching into a deep ball hole for his ball. I was thinking about his eyes when I saw a pair of eyes looking up at me from the golf hole. They seemed like a man's eyes, like a human man, not a raccoon or anything. So, like, there was a guy under the green zone looking up at me through the ball hole, and I could hear him breathing. We were really close to each other. It felt good, but I was confused. I thought it was all dirt and rocks underneath the green stuff, but I guess I didn't really have any good reason to believe that. I imagined a series of intricate tunnels, like what's that stuff with the railings, like outside of buildings under construction or in spaceships, like in TV shows, like rails and platforms and stuff made of metal. I don't know. That stuff, lots of it, like a facility under the green stuff with guys walking around. I thought about him walking on these like sci-fi pathway things under the golf course and thought like maybe the ball holes were vents or something. It seemed really complex and I felt tired. He said something, but I couldn't really hear. It sounded like front edges or something, but that didn't make any sense. I said what? And he said it again at the same volume. I was confused. I thought runt cages, front ledges. I said what again, but he just sighed and slid this like little shutter or something over the bottom of the ball hole. The hole looked normal then, like small and normal. I wasn't sure whether to worry about my ball or not, if it was okay to leave it there with the guy or whatever. I thought it was probably okay, because I had other balls with me in my briefcase. I stood up and realized the green zone, like the furry ball hole area, was really wet. My shirt was completely soaked through. Thank you.
Zach, man, that was awesome. A real embarrassment of riches there. I don't know what to talk about first, but
You don't have to.
I want to, Zach. I want to. I want to talk about at least some of these pieces, okay? I the first couple of stories, I really adore the way time functions in those. You have a wonderful sense of time dilation, and it's actually present in the final piece as well, where you understand that when someone is doing something tedious, the way time slows down and you get right inside your own consciousness while time slows down during either the repetitive process of scooping the yogurt or of inflating the terrible inflatable donkey through its asshole. Like all of those, you understand like what the human mind does in a moment like that, which is like time takes on an entirely different property and it just slows down and stretches out. And I love the way you take us through the thought process in both of these pieces. Like in the second one, it's very comic, right? But in both cases, you go from like the banality of it into like the absurdity of it, but then you take it a step further and arrive at something profound. Like I love how in the first one, just before you're done the task, you remember that that woman had died, and we had been taken through this like humorous story about your relationship and the way, and there's no expectation at all that it's going to arrive at this very dark place, and the fact that it arrives where it does just at the end of this like long protracted process is just so like intimately and perfectly attuned to the way like the human brain actually functions. And man, the Pokemon, I lost it at the Pokemon card one. That is in terms of like stories with punchlines or stories that take a sudden, in this case, literal swerve. That was phenomenal, Zach. Anyway, great stuff. I'm sorry for rambling, and
Oh no,
for
thank you.
indulging me.
I appreciate it.
Did you ever
Thank you.
think
It's
William
yeah.
is kind of like a sex doll? Like in that he like gets you off. Like that's what Alex was kind of saying earlier, I think, in some sort of
I Josh, don't think of me in any other way but that
William.
way.
Is the insert in the asshole? Let's just pump up. Well, that's what William's doing for all of us, I think.
Josh, you you're welcome. You're welcome to your own private thoughts. That there's nothing I can do about that.
No, I wanna second that. I think Josh is on the money. I haven't ejaculated in about 3 weeks and I'm pretty close now. So I want to thank you, William. And I want to thank you, Josh, for inviting me.
Oh God. All right, Josh.
I third that, and I want to hear more about this sex doll theory.
But you would know.
Wait, why would Rudy know?
Why would I know?
You guys are.
Would I?
There's like 8 people that live there. I mean,
I think you profoundly
I
misunderstand
bet you
our
guys. I
relationship.
bet you guys have jerked off in like the same room,
Uh,
not looking. I'm just saying, as a child, you've known each other so long, if not some childhood thing, like. And if it hasn't happened, you both thought about it. So let's.
Josh, obviously I have different interpersonal boundaries than you do, which is fine. I mean, you people.
Well, that's the diversity of the curated reading list coming through. These opinions on you guys working with each other, I think.
All right, Josh.
With that brings us to
Rudy.
one of the co-conspiratorial jerker offers, Rudy, right?
I have never jerked off in the same room as William, probably. That
At least not while I was awake, anyway.
not while William was awake.
Oh, of course. Has nobody a sleepover? Anyways, whatever. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it, but
let that one go.
I'll save it for the after party. How about that? So I want to read a piece that I was written just for this reading, actually. Just in honor of our guest of honor, Josh Sherman. There was a piece read in Misery Loves Company at one point here. It was, I believe, some Chat GPT or AI Dungeon compiled Family Guy fan fiction. I remember how much Josh adored it. And so
oh no!
I believe it's one of his favorite pieces that have ever been read here, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. So I actually wrote some fan fiction of my own that used Chat GPT 3. I wrote just for Josh Sherman. But this piece will actually require some audience participation. So I'm just going to read the intro to the piece. It merges a couple of things that I really enjoy. That is the Civil War and Jewish stand-up comedians. So yeah. So let me just outright say I held nothing but the utmost respect for the Jewish people and et cetera, et cetera. I mean no disrespect with this, and that's real talk. Anyway, so this piece is it's inspired by this Wikipedia. I'll just read the Wikipedia shit because probably only a few people have heard of this shit. From Wikipedia, General Order Number 11 was a controversial order issued by Union Major General Ulysses S. Grant on December 17th, 1862, during the Vicksburg campaign that took place during the American Civil War. The order expelled all Jews from Grant's military district, comprising areas of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Kentucky. Grant issued the order in an effort to reduce Union military corruption and stop an illicit trade of Southern cotton, which Grant thought was being run, quote, mostly by Jews and other unprincipled traders, unquote. So after having vivid dreams about a television special that united my love of, as I mentioned, Jewish situational comedy and the American Civil War, I gave the following prompt to OpenAI's ChatGPT-3. For those of you not familiar with ChatGPT-3, it's a AI program that lets you basically do anything. The AI can give you inspiration. You give it a prompt, it'll give you some output in return. This is the prompt I gave it. Can you pretend that you are Larry David and write me a script for an auteur sketch comedy television public access special called General Order 11, in which several prominent Jewish comedians play characters affected in some way by General Ulysses S. Grant's General Order Number 11, an order issued in 1862. So the text below is the result of me and ChatGPT's efforts to realize my dream. Acknowledgements, of course, of the comedians whose work was pilfered from, then butchered, and inserted a tone-deaf joke about someone stealing a kosher hot dog or something. Laura, I apologize. So this is called General Chaos, an HBO comedy special dedicated to Josh Sherman. Uh, so after I read the synopsis, there's some characters here, and basically this is like a little play, or it's like basically the script. It's like a little script or whatever. I'm gonna solicit the audience for volunteers and see if we get any. So this is a synopsis. A quirky cast of characters comes to terms with the implementation of General Order Number 11, Union Commander USSS Grant's widely panned military edict that ordered the removal of Jews from parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Kentucky, as we know. So these are the characters here. And as I go along, if anybody wants to play any of these, fucking shout it out. Let's see. Larry, played by Larry David. The ever complaining general store owner who has a thriving side hustle selling pickled goods. Louis, played of course by everyone's favorite Louis C.K., a middle-aged dad struggling with the chaos of the order and the chaos of fatherhood. Morty, played by Jerry Seinfeld. Larry's sarcastic best friend, a barber who's weary of life's many haircuts. Ruth, played by Sarah Silverman. The tavern owner with a sharp wit and a drink for every occasion. Sammy, played by Adam Sandler, an ever optimistic musician seeking the perfect audience for his offbeat tunes. Soldier Thompson, played by Seth Rogen, a conflicted Union soldier with a soft spot for Larry's pickles. So yeah, I will probably take Ruth and Sammy since they don't have a huge amount of lines. I could also take Soldier Thompson too.
Okay. Well, let's see how many. Before we do that, let's see how many volunteers we have. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's if nobody takes them.
So Josh, we'll give you the first pick of the night.
But I mean, I'm just focused on myself right now, and what I'm trying to do after this. So I feel like it would be taking away.
Nah, Josh.
Oh no.
Josh
has a finite amount of genius.
Huh?
Josh has a finite amount of genius. He's going to save it for his reading.
Josh, how about Larry David?
That would be more genius than exists collectively among several people in this.
Yeah, of course.
Josh, you strike me as like as a Larry David. I don't know why.
I can't imagine, but if
I don't know.
So what do I have to do? I have to open this.
Just open the Google Doc, and then it'll have like little lines that everybody will read. When you get to your line, you read it.
If we don't read Josh, we'll just cast someone else. But
yeah,
No, I appreciate it, but honestly, the Pink Whitney is getting warm, so I think I'm gonna. She's got different priorities, but I've read along before, and actually, it made me embrace a theatrical side to myself I didn't know existed before. But this time, kindly, because it's my night. This is my night. Please don't ask.
This is Josh's.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it is dedicated to you,
especially because you didn't boot two people I asked you. So let this be the booting then.
Okay, let this be the booting indeed.
Let this be.
So, Derek has volunteered to take Soldier Thompson. So we've got Derek as Soldier Thompson. Jeff, are you volunteering to be Marty?
Morty, fuck yeah, Jeff.
Maybe Louis.
GG wants Louis. GG can have Louis.
I think actually, I think Kurt put in the chat already for Louis.
Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Kurt's coming. Like, okay, I see. I was hiding in the chat. Okay, so let's do. Okay, so Tyler says he'll play somebody. And
I'm a little drunk right now. So sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Or Tyler Peterson says he'll play somebody.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Tyler, why don't you play? We got Soldier. Do we have a Larry David yet?
Do we? I don't think we have a Larry David yet.
No. Tyler can't be anything in this.
No. Tyler Peterson. Oh, not the other Tyler. Not the Tyler that you're angry at. The other Tyler. Okay, the Tyler that you love.
That's fine.
I can be Larry.
Josh wants.
Okay, yeah.
Gigi. Okay, Gigi is Larry.
I have no
Kurt
problem.
Is Louis.
As long as he wants to behave, no problem.
Gigi is Larry, Kurt is Louie, Jeff is
Okay.
Marty. I don't think we have a Ruth yet. I don't think we have a Sammy yet. Derek is Soldier Thompson, and Tyler. Tyler, will you do Tyler Peterson? That is Tyler. Will you do Adam Sandler, Sammy?
Sammy.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
William, can you emphasize to people that I'm reading next? So it seems like people are leaving just before I read. So
Yes, Josh is up next. We're gonna close up with Josh next. Don't jump
leave.
ship yet. Don't jump ship yet. Josh will be right up after this break. So I think
So I guess I'll take Ruth and the comment, the commentary basically.
sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, so I'll start it off then, because there is a scene intro to read. So if I scroll down here, scene interior.
wait. This is 13 pages long.
Yes, it is, because as you remember, the Family Guy script, it just went on forever. Okay, so
Josh, the longer you take with this, the longer like the uncle is gonna have to set into your
No, I
bloodstream.
I know.
We gotta go. Okay. Let's go.
So seeing interior, Morty's barber shop. It's a quaint little shop, decorated with wooden panels, vintage mirrors, and an old barber's chair. Shelves are adorned with various grooming products. Morty is packing his things, looking frustrated. His prized scissors gleam in his hand, reflecting the dim candlelight. Larry enters, the bell on the door chiming to announce his arrival. Morty holding scissors.
Who was Marty again?
Fucking Morty.
I think
Isn't
Jeff is Morty, right? Or am I
Yeah,
wrong?
I believe Jeff is Morty.
Oh, okay.
I totally fucked this up.
No, you're good.
What am I supposed to read?
Morty.
Morty. The parts for Morty.
The link is so far back in the chat, I can't even find it.
Oh, here, hold on. Let me post it again. Oh, okay, you got it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh boy. Oy vey.
Man, this is actually part of like the routine almost.
Can we get it together, guys?
All right, okay.
So what's the deal with that?
All right. Larry's sarcastic best friend, a barber, who is wary of life's many haircuts.
Morty holding the scissors.
Little down.
Yeah, it's a little down. It's the first scene there, scene interior Morty's barber shop.
Wait, who's Ruth?
I'm gonna be Ruth, but she's not till later on.
No, scroll down a bit. It's after the scene, the internal
it's
scene.
after.
That's where it says Morty's barbershop.
Yeah.
Barbershop. After the line break.
Yep.
It says scene interior and it describes it, and then you're Morty holding scissors. That's you, Jeff.
Oh, wait. All right. This is ridiculous. I just got these imported from Germany.
The place is emptier than usual. You selling stuff?
Trying to. But who wants to buy them when everybody's packing?
Think of it as a chance to. I don't know. Explore a new business. Maybe in shoes. People always need shoes.
Yes, from barber to cobbler. Seamless transition. I just trade all of my shaving cream for shoe leather.
Could be a step in the right direction. Besides, cutting leather can't be much different from cutting beards. Nowadays, men's beards and men's shoes only come in like two styles.
I'm a barber, Larry. I cut hair, not skins.
You ever thought about wigs? If you're cutting hair, might as well store and sell it.
With the way things are, I might just start offering shaves and circumcisions.
Oi, that's quite the business pivot, Morty. Although I guess you've got to hustle and move in this economic climate.
I'm moving, all right? There's a future in mobile barbering.
Only if you can cut hair in a moving wagon.
Why not? Life's been throwing me enough coives. Might as well swing back.
Just promise me one thing.
What's that?
No haircuts or going over bumpy roads. All right, I don't need another bald spot.
All right, wait, what fucking page are we on?
Josh, we're on 4 of 10.
I think it's 4.
We're 40% through.
Nobody here knows what's going on, and now there are people. I just think, okay, we'll
This is so offensive to the Jewish faith. I find this highly
I
offensive.
said, don't worry.
We can skip some of the less funny sections. How about that? We'll skip section 2 since that one is more historical and less punchliney.
Oh fuck! All right. Looking around. All right.
Basically, what about 5 minutes? 5 minutes, and then because I gotta go.
This is only page
6. Okay. Well, let's skip down to let's see.
What the fuck?
I don't have any pages in my.
No, I'm not
All
hosting.
right. This is the third time I had to move this week.
Wait, where is that?
No, but this is no. You know what?
We're-
I think this was an intentional and I admit funny way of ways I've been trolled. I can appreciate it, but I'm just gonna fucking read, and then you guys can continue with production. Yeah,
Jeff, that was my line.
Oy
Okay.
Fair
We've had our fun.
enough,
We've had
fair
our
enough.
fun. We've had our
Yeah.
fun. We've had our fun.
He's
It
got
is-
14 inches. He calls it a yard. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Scroll
all
down
right.
to fucking
All right.
place
Okay.
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 Let's let the birthday boy have his.
We've had our fun. We've had our fun. Okay, Josh, you're closing out the night. You are the headliner. It's your turn to read.
Hold on a minute here.
thank you. Also, people here are now being noisy. Fran, pipe down.
Me?
Yeah, no, it's not really you. It's them.
Did you know
Fran, you're doing it right now. I'm on.
This is anti-Semitic, I tell you.
Tell you what. All right. So I'm gonna keep it short, unlike many other people who chose to read tonight. I have a sense of propriety, and
unlike many people you chose to read tonight.
well, there were some curatorial bloopers there. That's for sure. But you know what? You learn. The book's coming later. I'm sure Misery Tourism will enable me once more.
I'm sure.
So you already posted the link. Just short. I don't know what Zach considers a smallie. I think this is a smallie in that it's like in the Flash range. It's on Expat. It's in the chapbook. It's called Gordon Ramsay. I no longer have a relationship with that publisher, but I'm glad that they published it at the time they did because it helped me. Thank you, Manny. Every day you're late to work by exactly 8 minutes. It's kind of like being on time, you think. Nobody says anything, and ever since your desk was moved closer to the entrance, there haven't been as many people to walk past and be late in front of. Fewer witnesses. Unlike you, the man in the black V-neck sticks to no discernible routine. He appears at random, and sometimes you don't see him for months at a time. Today, he shows up at 10 a.m. Your office is on the 6th floor of a converted textile factory, directly across from a boutique hotel with balconies and big glass windows. The man in the black V-neck is standing on one of the balconies smoking. During the Toronto International Film Festival each year, the hotel becomes a destination for movie stars trying to keep a low profile. The rest of the time, like on this spring day, porn production companies rent out the suites. You've tried searching all variations of Toronto hotel porn on Pornhub, but haven't found any videos that look like they were shot at the hotel. You've come across some pretty good stuff, though. You think of somehow asking the man in the black V-neck. Everyone calls him Gordon Ramsay because he's always wearing a black V-neck, like the celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay, about where to find the videos. He's one of the people who rent the boutique hotel suites to shoot porn in, so he should know. Gordon Ramsay tosses his cigarette onto people or cars or cement or whatever is below and steps back into the hotel. He hasn't gone long, though, and you're the first to notice his return because your desk faces the most active porn-making suite, another perk of your new seating arrangement. This time, Gordon Ramsay has a camera and he isn't alone. She seems nervous, and when she realizes everyone in your office is now watching from the windows, she puts her hands up to cover herself, but only for a second. The flicker of chastity seems endearing to you and also kind of sad. You realize this sadness isn't a progressive sort of sadness and most likely springs from your repressed upbringing. You're also pretty sure it erodes your ally status and maybe somehow supports the machinations of the patriarchy in an indirect but meaningful way. But the way she puts her hands up, just for a second. Then one of your colleagues, someone you classify as a theater person, holds up a sign they've made for these occasions. It says applause. Now I'm going to read a poem that Rudy liked called Killing Dale Earnhardt. Killing Dale Earnhardt. People are always so sure that they can trace the origins of a troubled person, like a school shooter, to hours spent playing some RPG or maybe enacting violent fantasies against women in Grand Theft Auto. By this logic, I think childhood psychologists should have been alerted to some kid I knew growing up in my suburb. It was a summer afternoon, and it must have been the year 2001, because earlier that February, NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt was killed during the last lap of the Daytona 500 as he took the final bend in his signature black stock car. There are a couple of reasons that this detail is important. First, the kid was playing NASCAR on Nintendo 64 with a friend, and Dale Earnhardt was still a driver that you could select to race as. And second, the kid was repeatedly smashing Dale Earnhardt into the fourth corner of the simulated Daytona 500 instead of just doing laps like you were supposed to. Eventually, an adult noticed what was going on, how the video game wasn't being played properly. If you're going to do that, I'm going to make you turn this off, said the father of the kid who was not the kid massacring late NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt in a holocaust of pixels and primitive CGI over and over again. What kind of kid does that? What kind of man did they grow up to be? I was that kid. I killed Dale Earnhardt like 17 times that afternoon. So I was writing a series of poems every single day during the war on Ukraine when it first began. And I had an idea because I was really inspired by news headlines. They just set me off. And this was the last one I wrote, and maybe you'll see why. It's called Humanitarian Crisis. After seeing photos of the refugees, I started searching Ukrainian on Pornhub. March 4th, 2022. This one's called it just became it was honestly too dark. Like it wasn't even funny anymore. Like it was, but like it was like there are other more earnest poems. I have a theory about Putin's dick, which is anyways, but the size of it. I mean, he's not huge, he's not small, he's like 8 inches, 7 inches, that range. I know, but I mean, I'm just saying he is a larger than average man, but he's not huge and he's not tiny. The Napoleon complex is over. That was like that happened one time. Guys with huge dicks never get it in. They actually have they're super fucked. I'm 7 inches. I've been rewarded way too much in life than I should have been. This is again, and someone says check my privilege, but you know what I mean. Putin strikes me as someone like me who's been enabled a little bit too much all along. He wasn't great, but he was like pretty good. And that is where you get that warlord mentality. That was actually basically the poem. So I basically read another poem. Just a couple more things. Pantone matching system, which was published in Misery Tourism, as well as Killing Dale Earnhardt, possibly go alongside. Wonder what Pantone would name the shade of yellow that my piss is on the third day of a bender. Could this be my color of the year? And two more, a short poem and then a story. Dendrology, and this one was on Back Patio Press. Have you heard about the great bristlecone pine? It's the oldest living thing. It can grow to be like 5,000 years old. That's what it felt like when I met her. Like something 5,000 years old was suddenly alive. And I'm going to close out with reading Florida Man, which I've read too many times. And people are now telling me to post whole, I think. Which I would, honestly, but...
Josh, your mom is still here.
Oh, shit. Well, she hasn't said anything in a while. I think she's tuned out. So I don't know.
I'm sure she's already seen your penis, Josh.
No, I'm still here. I've heard every word, every 7-inch word.
Well, I'm gonna read Lemons instead. I read Florida Man too many times. And we'll close it out this way. It deals with a lot of my fixations on like prostates and urine and not dick length, but lemons. I'm scanning the toilet bowl for blood. I can't see any, but I haven't got everything out yet. So I use my thumb and index finger and start stroking to dislodge the last spits of urine. I'm only 29 and already sort of incontinent, apparently. Just a few years ago, I could shoot a urinal puck around with the force of my stream. Is it a stricture? Something wrong with my prostate? I researched the human body a lot because they say you should know your enemy. A urethral stricture can impede the flow of urine and, if untreated, this narrowing of the passage can cause cancer. The prostate is constantly expanding, like the universe. A decade ago, my prostate would have been around the size of a walnut. In another 30 years, it'll be more like a lemon. But lemons are the last thing I want to think about. It's because of this Subway ad about bladder cancer that's been haunting me. In it, there's a pile of lemons, and one is bright red. See red? See your doctor. The yellow lemons represent non-cancerous prostate cells, and the red lemons are the cancer. The point is this. I'm afraid that one day I'll have to have my bladder removed because of my heavy drinking. That's what happened to my mom's alcoholic friend. They replaced his bladder with a urostomy pouch that he forever hides in his jeans. Whenever I see him, I try and discern its outline. He cloaks it well, but I can't imagine what it's done to his dating life. And the last thing I need is an impediment like that. If I wasn't funny, I'm pretty sure I'd be an incel. So I don't know why I've been disregarding my body or where the fuck I get off acting like this. But so far I've been doing it with impunity, and the lack of consequence unnerves me. It's like some sort of cosmic oversight or an evolutionary glitch. Only in the 21st century is an existence like mine possible. I'd be easy prey throughout much of human history. Nomadic life wouldn't suit me. I'd be left behind with the aged and the diseased. Well, I'd be one of them. My ancient death wouldn't warrant any ritual or ceremony. Nobody would be slaughtering any virgins to mark the occasion. These are my thoughts as I stand over the toilet with my dick hanging out, late for work again. 5 minutes to shave, 3 to brush my teeth, less to dress. My chest aches vaguely and my jaw is sore, clicking as I swish my alcohol-free mouthwash. I've been grinding my teeth a lot lately. Click. This can't be good. Click. In the kitchen, there's a running sobriety tally on the little chalkboard I've hung by the entrance to my apartment. There are 3 white lines scrawled on it, each representing a day of the month that I haven't had a drink or done drugs. The month is almost over. Nearby, my glass coffee table is smudged with traces of the night before. The table is an unexpectedly useful gift from my mom. Glass panels. Oh, thanks, Mom. Glass panels are an ideal surface to sort drugs off of. When I'm hosting a party, I'll take a panel out and keep it in my bedroom so I won't have to share my drugs with anyone. Inevitably, my friends will drop drinks and plates right through the empty space. Something is supposed to be there, but it isn't. Choosing my outfit doesn't take long. My dresser drawers are arranged in neat compartments like a pillbox. A girlfriend once compared me to a cartoon character because I have so many pairs of the exact same clothing items. It allows me to wear what is essentially a uniform, which changes from season to season. It's late April, so that means 5'10", skinny fit Levi's men's jeans, and an American Apparel fine jersey crewneck pocket t-shirt underneath an American Apparel unisex flex fleece drop shoulder pullover crewneck sweater. Colors vary. I pull the jeans over the Calvin Klein boxer briefs that I've already got on. I haven't worn any other kind since I was a teen. Consistency like that helps me believe I haven't fully lost control. What chance do inner demons have against a man who's been wearing the same underwear for a decade? Sun overwhelms the two mismatched and undersized curtains that I've got hanging over the windows. I'm not sure why I bother. I'm totally sun-fucked as I leave my bedroom. I'm careful not to look at the little chalkboard when I grab my jacket off its hook. Before locking up, I scan the kitchen one last time to make sure the stove and faucet are off and that everything is unplugged. The toaster, the kettle, the Wi-Fi router, which I'd forgotten. It's a compulsion. Sometimes I check 3 or 4 times. I obsess over the idea of accidentally leaving the tap running and flooding my place, or burning it down in an electrical fire. Maybe I entertain the possibility of these imaginary tragedies to avoid the one I'm living. In a few years, my therapist will confirm as much, but that's not part of this short story, which takes place in 2017. Children are running around the playground at the French public school across the street from my apartment. I failed French all throughout elementary school, but their screaming is a language that I can understand. The playground is pretty close to Lansdowne Station, which is just north of the school. It looks like I'm only 10 minutes behind schedule. I really hope that I don't see that ad on the subway today. I've even stopped garnishing my cocktails with lemons.
Josh, I have to ask you, do you consider yourself the Vladimir Putin of cyber writing?
No, I just think he's given a bad name to dudes with like 7-inch dicks, to be honest.
Josh, I leave it to you. That only you could have taken, like, this whole international clusterfuck, the threat of nuclear war, and only you could have reached that conclusion. Only you could have found that takeaway in it. So that's a beautiful thing. But honestly, Josh, I know that you set out to really read your greatest hits for your set tonight, and obviously I've heard all of these pieces before, but I think you really nailed it. I think you really made a great selection of some of your very best work, and I'm very glad you read the Killing Dale Earnhardt poem, because that's my very favorite poem that you've written too. And multiple people in the chat said the same thing. That is kind of the perfect Josh Sherman poem, because it does what I think a lot of your work does, which is it finds a sick and pathological thing that we all do in the dark, and it shines a light on it, and then it really cranks it up to the maximum. And because, like, who among us who have played a video game hasn't been like, hey, I wonder if I could do this very inappropriate thing in this video game? And the fact that you like wrote a poem, and the poem is fucking excellently constructed too. I love the fact that you withhold the fact that it was you doing it to the very end of the poem. But I love the moment. In fact, my very favorite moment in the poem is the parent interjecting, almost like super ego-esque, to be like, if you keep doing this, I'm going to turn it off, you know? Because it like, I don't know, that poem just perfectly captures that aspect of all your best work, which is this like delicate tension between like shame and shamelessness, and all of your work really has that. And all the pieces you read tonight were fucking awesome. And I do like the fact that you slipped in the ancient tree poem, which is very atypical of your work, but is a really kind of beautiful and romantic poem. And I'm glad you didn't just like decide to totally lean in, like, oh well, this is my persona. I'm going to read only work that's part of my persona. I think it's a really great sampler of your work, and I really great capstone to the night, my friend.
Thanks, William. No, seriously. And the last one you were saying about the dendrology one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some thought. Yeah, because there's other stuff by me like that too. It's very easy to lean into, you know, a certain persona, especially if people seem to respond to it. But
Exactly.
yeah, no, thanks for noticing that, because I like that one a lot. And I don't think it's out of character in the whole, if you look at everything, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks.
Very good. And everything you read was from the chapbook?
No, only Lemons, Gordon Ramsay. I think we're the only two. Because I didn't want to, because I figure, well, post the download link in the
I have twice over the course of the night, but we'll do it a third time. We'll do it a third time.
Yeah,
Actually, Rudy, can you put the link in there again, because I closed the window.
There's when you click the link, you'll get prompted to donate. You'll get prompted to donate to Josh Sherman. And if you do, and I didn't tell them to do this, but I found it kind of absurd. But if you do, then I can donate to Zach Smith, because I realize now that you don't get this big billing. I was naive. This is my first rodeo in terms of prestigious literary readings. I didn't realize that, but of course, everything comes at a cost. So now, to avoid litigation, I know that Tal Lin has lawyers based on some previous media coverage. So, yeah.
Josh, I would like to think we've all made at least a small donation to Josh Sherman tonight.
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah, no, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and I'm gonna leave this on, but I'm gonna actually have I'm gonna have I think there's gonna be an you guys are probably gonna just bullshit on about whatever, as I have. And then you'll see me and my real friends interacting. You'll get a real kind of lay of the land. And,
all right.
Josh, what hat are you wearing? This is really important.
View cocaine on camera. Well, if you look back far enough into the Misery Tourism archives.
No, you made me edit that out. It was a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was scrubbed from the archives. It was erased, Josh.
True. Well, that's one for, I don't know, posthumous, whatever. If there's ever
one day we'll do it together, Josh. How about that?
Yeah.
No, not on camera, just in real life.
No, yeah. No ketamine, no. Don't try and fucking.
I won't sneak attack you. Fuck that shit.
Because in your book, I don't think anybody sneak attacks, but I think there is some confusion. Bags are labeled, and that's always whenever you have to label them, that's too complicated, right? And that's what happens, right? It wasn't a sneak attack. It was more so something was labeled as one, something was labeled as something else. These are two very different things done in
very different smells.
And and yet, all right. Well, I'm not going. I'm sticking around, but I'm just saying I'm living my life. Thank you for enabling me, William. Thank you for to Kurt, Zach, Nathaniel, everybody else who attended, but everybody else was like a misery tourism person. So those are the three who were like not, but also Derek, Troy, Rudy, Ryan, who is slouched over to my right. I've let him out of the corner. He's not going back.
So, thank you, Josh, and thank you, Josh Sherman's mom. Like, can we get a round of applause, everyone, for Josh's mom? I can't believe how traumatizing this was for her. I want to thank Josh's mom, and I want to deeply apologize to Josh's mom. We all love your son, whether he at his highs and at his lows.
But yeah, sorry for talking about my dick like that, but.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much. Good reading. You guys are fun.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
She sounds upset.
At
Bye.
least he's a good writer.
Okay. All right. So anyway, that was fucking wild. That we have never had a Misery Loves Company quite like that, and I imagine we never will again. No, it was a lot of fun, guys. I am gonna end the recording in just a second, but I will keep the Zoom meeting open in case anyone wants to hang out or whatever afterwards. I know Josh thanked all the readers, but I want to thank all the readers again. Thank you to everyone who read. This has been a lot of fun. There was a really diverse and eclectic group of readings tonight, and every one of them was a fucking banger. So
Now, hold on a second.
Oh.
I just want to
Yeah.
interject here real quickly.
Mhm.
I know that I read something earlier.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what it was.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
I've forgotten too. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Oh well. Wait.
Eddie. Oh, okay.
Can I share my screen really quick?
Yeah, yeah, quickly. Sure, why not? Why not? Oh, and yeah, thank you for coming, Kurt. And anyone for whom this was your first Misery Loves Company, definitely feel free to come back every time. They're not all quite this insane, but they're all insane in their own way. Yeah,
Insane in the membrane.
here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Josh.
this must have been what I
Oh,
read.
okay. Okay.
Josh
Yep.
Sherman.
I see that. I see
Josh
that.
Sherman.
It's Josh Sherman. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay. Oh, phew. Oh my goodness, that's great because I thought I shared something deeply insensitive.
No, I think it was. Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was
That
just
was
not
it,
his
right?
name. I think that was it. I mean, if it had been something deeply insensitive, I think there would have been some reaction. I remember the reading going very smoothly, is what I remember.
That's fair.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna call it there. We do just for the YouTube recording, I just want to say we do Misery Loves Company every week, every Friday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Anyone is welcome to come and join us. Anyone is welcome to come and share their work if they'd like. Yeah, we tweet out the link just before from our Twitter account at Misery Tourism, or is it our X account now? Either way, this was a fantastic night, guys. Very fun. Thank you so much. And thank you, Josh.